Welcome to the day 7 session on APM and Java. We are going to talk about what is mobile test automation, what are the types of complexities we can face in testing, what are the tools available in the market, and introduction to APM. So nowadays we cannot even imagine our life without having our mobile phone. It has become like an integral body part now. And we keep using it for work, for travel, for pleasure, for keeping in touch with our near ones, and to even monitor our health and sleeping patterns. To pay your bills, to book your cab, to book that movie ticket, to buy something, you use mobile for almost anything and everything. To ensure that you are attending your meeting even though you are not in office, the smartphone allows you to perform all of that. And with great internet connections and free data services, all this has become very easy and accessible to anyone and everyone. Now, as such, mobile has engulfed our day-to-day activities that's so overwhelming. Even more overwhelming is the humongous complexities of the mobile test world. The different operating systems like Android, iOS, and Windows, the different devices like smartphone, tablets, wearable devices, the screen resolutions for different phone devices, the device fragmentation, which is an Android specific issue. So the complexity itself at the world of mobile is also pretty huge because of different operating systems, different types of devices, different screen sizes, different processors, and Android specifically suffers from a concept called as device fragmentation, which we will have to have a look at. Because of all of this, automation is a necessity than an option for mobile testing, and we rather choose that instead of disappearing to the oblivion. According to the HP Capgemini Quality Report, in the year 2017, 50% of the enterprises did not have the right tool or the device lab to test their mobile apps. And 45% of those enterprises thought that it's okay not to automate the mobile app testing. But that's again, as I said, not advisable. So let us try to understand the complexity in place and why and how mobile test automation is required and what are the types of tools available out there in the market. So there are different types of mobile applications which we see. Broadly classifying, these are native apps, hybrid apps, and a web app. Okay. These are the three different types of mobile applications which you are going to see in a mobile phone and which we are going to broadly test. The native app is basically written using the iOS or Android or Windows SDK, and they are platform specific. They require unique expertise. They take a long time to develop, but they can deliver higher user experience. A hybrid app is generally an app which has a web view wrapper around it, and inside it there is a native app which is running. A browser accessible app or a web app is written in HTML5 or JavaScript, and it is quick and cheap to develop, but it is less powerful than the native app. Most of the times, the different types of apps which we are seeing on our screens or on our mobile devices are your hybrid apps. Have you seen your mobile phone contact application where you see all the people available on your phone? That's an example of which type of app. Is it native, hybrid, or web? Native, very good. Now, have you seen app like let's say Amazon shopping app, which you download from your Play Store, kind of a thing? Those type of apps like the Amazon shopping app, have you seen that? Or your Facebook app? Yes, that's generally the hybrid applications. And you must be having a browser on your phone on which you open any website, like a news website, or you open any other website which you would like to visit, right? That's a web application. So do you understand the three types of applications which are available to us? So native apps are generally created using our own device specific SDK, and they deliver the most uh, they deliver the great user experience. Then come the hybrid, and then come your websites. Browser apps are same as responsive websites. Yes, if you are opening the application through the browser on your mobile phone, it is a web app. So trying to understand the complexity which we face is the operating system complexity, the screen size, the resolution of the screen, who has manufactured that device, whether it is a smartphone, tablet, a wearable device, and what type of processing unit is used. So if we look at the complexities at the worldwide level, 52% of the users use Android, followed by iOS, that's 24%, then Windows and others. In mobile devices, we will have iPhone generally being 45% of the share, Samsung being the 36%, and rest are others. In mobile vendors, 44% user are of Samsung and 40% are of Apple users. So when I say there is a higher number of Android users, which organization names come to your mind generally? Samsung phones are very popular for the Android type of application, and their competitor being the Apple organization with their iPhones and their iOS platforms. So generally these two are the important significant players. You then have other mobile platforms available like Windows, BlackBerry, but that is not generally that much in use, or you do not have those many users available of those platforms. The second type of complexities is of screen sizes and resolution. Your phone size and resolution changes for your iPhone, as you can see. Also for your Android applications. So you have got phone, you have got your iPad, you have got your phone, you have got your tabs. You also have nowadays your wearable devices, so screen resolution and sizes changes. GPU, the heart of creative apps, also has got different specifications according to the different type of processing unit we are using in our phone. Then localization, depending upon where your phone is available, in which country, which locality you are available, the localization comes into concept, which changes the UI of your application, which changes the language of your applications. And so that is again a challenge for us. So what is the need for automation in mobile testing? The growing number of mobile applications, the cycles now to develop the softwares have shifted to Scrum or Agile. The complexities at the mobile world, the globalization of the applications being released in multiple languages. To ensure all these complexities are taken care of, we have to have automation in place. And another important thing we have to have is either a dedicated mobile app created by ourselves, which generally is a headache. We basically should be having a solution available on cloud to test our mobile devices, which many organizations provide. Do you have any questions so far? Okay. So what are the different types of mobile automation tools available? You have something called as Renorex APM, which is our tool of interest, Calabash, Frank, Robotium, UI Automator, Monkey Talk, Espresso. Now let us see what type of selection criteria we have, which will basically be satisfying or the tools which will be satisfying those criteria. We would want something which covers most of the market, so and automates both Android and iOS platform. It should be a first party tool. It should be bundled with the OS. It should not be required to be installed separately. There should be object based automation instead of coordinate based automation. So depending upon that, the tools which we select are Monkey Runner, UI Automator, Monkey Talk, and APM. These are the tools which are available to test both iOS and Android, and they have object-based automation, and they do not require to be installed separately. Let us see some feature set of these tools. So Monkey Runner is basically uses Python as a programming language, and it is entirely based on coordinate based automation, not object based automation. And it has an API which basically helps us automate an Android device. It is easy to set up. You can test multiple devices at a time. You can perform random testing, but if there is even a slight change in the UI, then your script will fail because the identification of objects are coordinate based and it only supports Android. Then you have got UI Automator. Again, it's Google's own Android development IDE. It supports object-based automation, but it does not support WebView. It only supports Android version 4.3 and above, and it does not have any methods available to test gestures like long press on an element. Then you have got APM, which is basically backed by Soft Labs, and it is created using Selenium framework. APM is effectively an HTTP server which takes HTTP commands over the JSON wire protocol and it executes command on device. It supports both iOS and Android application, and it supports the mobile gestures. And also the best advantage of APM is it supports multiple programming languages like Python, Ruby, Java, Perl, etc. because it is derived using Selenium libraries. The limitation being you do not have parallel application testing available for iOS. You do not have support available for Android less than 4.1, so you have to use Selendroid. There is no option of image comparison available, and there is no option to switch off the network connection. So how do we choose the right tool? The right tool should be whether we would like a free tool or a paid tool. What type of application are we trying to automate? Android, iOS, or both? How much time do we have available? What is the flexibility of tester with the scripting languages? The community support available in case we opt for open source. Whether it is a first party tool or third party tool. So these are our criteria to select a mobile testing tool. Now, what is our test process like? You should know your mobile application. You should be able to identify the right tool for automation. You should be able to write the test scripts to cover all the testing workflows in the application. We should be able to run the script for test pass. We should be able to update the script based upon our next releases, and we should be able to repeat the entire process until the application is live. Now this is an interesting comparison chart. I would like you guys to spend some time about it. So you can see APM supports multiple platforms, whereas in basically comparison to APM, the other tool which is available you can see is Calabash. Calabash has almost everything which APM has. Only one small drawback, it doesn't support almost all programming languages. It is primarily supporting Ruby. But Calabash is another alternate to APM and it supports everything which APM does. Okay. Rest all the types of tool like Xamarin, Robocium, Monkey Runner has something missing or the other, or it is a paid tool. Are you able to see that in the chart? Just spend 5 minutes on this table and then we will move forward. Done reading it? Great. You also, Nadia? Awesome. Now, before we move forward, I would like you guys to visit one or two websites. I would like you guys to have a look at this APM website, Calabash website, and there is a tool available called as, which is a paid tool, Xamarin, which also does everything except for the fact Monkey Talk and Xamarin. Yes, so you can have a look at two free tools and two paid tools. So visit these three sites. Primarily, since we are dealing with the open source world, we are going to talk about APM and Calabash. APM primarily, that's the rule of interest, but nevertheless, we should know the other type of solutions available out there in the market. So just visit these sites. Just spend some 5-10 minutes looking at these sites. You guys done having a look at it? Hello? Okay. So you guys are done having a look at it. So we have APM and Calabash which are in comparison to each other. And then we have got some commercial tools also available. So what are the benefits we have available with APM? So APM is an open source tool to automate the native mobile and web apps and even hybrid apps. So it supports all type of applications and it supports both the platforms iOS and the Android device. It supports both of them. So APM is a cross-platform tools which allow us to write tests against multiple platforms using the same API, which also enables the code reuse between iOS, Android, and Windows test suite. So APM, if you have written a script in APM, which is basically working for Android, it will also work for iOS with or with not some minor changes. Let us have a look at the APM website to become familiar with it. So APM basically has something called as an APM philosophy. If we look at this page, there are 4 points of the APM philosophy based on which APM is created. You should not have to recompile your app or modify your app in any manner to automate it. You should not be logged into a specific programming language or framework to write or run your tests. A mobile automation framework shouldn't reinvent the wheel when it comes to automate APIs. Okay. So a mobile automation framework should not reinvent the wheel when it comes to automate mobile applications. A mobile automation framework should be open source in spirit, in practice as well as in name. So these are the 4 important philosophy points of APM, that we need not recompile our app or modify our app in any way to automate it. We should not be logged into a specific language and a framework to test our application. We should not reinvent the wheel when it comes to automating the API, and it should be open source both in spirit and in practice. So this is something which the APM philosophy is based upon and it strongly believes in, and we will see all these points being served. Okay. So it has got information about some different type of drivers which it supports. What are the different types of commands for session, for device, at the element level, at the context level, at the interaction level, and at the web level. So let us say at the session level, how would you create a session? So you have the code of creating a session for Java. You have a code for creating a session for Python, for JavaScript, for Ruby, for C#, and for PHP. Similarly, if I want to find an element, how would I find an element in Java, in Python, in JavaScript, and Ruby? So this command interface provides you with all the possible commands which we may require for APM. Then how would you be running the test? What is the concept of desired capabilities? What are touch actions? What are web view? For Android, what is the UI selector guide? These are all information available. Then some advanced information. If you would like to contribute, how would you like to contribute it, etc. Okay. What type of APM clients are available? So you have got APM being supported in Java, in Ruby, in Python. So these are all the APM clients available. So what we will be interested is in the APM client for Java and the APM server. So there are 2 things that you have to download. First, download this APM server A. So visit the website and download the APM server, and then I will tell you other things to download as well. And then we discussed about downloading the APM client. So from here, you have to download the Java client. So So you can do so after the class. I will basically be providing information about things to do to set up your system. If not today, most likely by tomorrow, but nevertheless, these two things are definitely a part of it. So you can start downloading if you want to. So meanwhile the class will be happening, this will get downloaded. Okay. So APM server and APM Java client, because Java is the programming language which we will be using to automate our application. Does it make sense? Okay. Do you want to take a short break now or do you want to continue? Let's take a short break now. Okay. And we will continue in next 10 minutes. Fine. So just download these things and I'll see you guys in 10 minutes. Thank you. Okay, shall we resume? Fine, thank you. So let us see how does APM follow these philosophies which we have just discussed. So requirement one is met by vendor provided automation frameworks under the hood. That way it does not have to compile in any APM specific or third party code or framework. So what we are testing, we are testing the same application we are shipping. Okay. So we are effectively testing the same application we are shipping. So the vendor provided framework used are, we have got Apple Access XC Test, we have got Google's UI Automator, we have Google's instrumentation, and a separate instrumentation tool is provided for Android, and we have got WinApp driver for Windows. So these are the vendor specific frameworks which are available to us. Requirement 2 is basically met by wrapping the vendor provided framework in one API, that is the WebDriver API. So the WebDriver API, as I just stated, basically works on a client server protocol known as the JSON wire protocol. It is a very important and a very well known protocol which basically is supported by now W3. It's W3 compliant also, and I will talk about it in a short while, but nevertheless this is the website. So everything is basically derived from something called as a WebDriver. So we will talk about it in detail in a short while. But the protocol or the communication protocol which this HTTP server and HTTP client is using is the JSON wire protocol. JSON wire protocol basically stands for JavaScript Object Notion Protocol. So in a very short form, the data transfer is happening using the JSON objects. Okay, the the data transfer is happening using the JSON objects over the HTTP portal. So given this client server architecture, a client can be written in any of the programming languages which can be used to send appropriate HTTP requests to this HTTP server. And we already have clients available in popular programming languages thanks to the Selenium. You already have clients created in Perl, Ruby, Java, C Sharp, etc. And on this we are free to use and run our tests whatever are available. In other words, APM and WebDriver clients are not technically test frameworks. These are automation libraries. Okay. So what they are the automation APIs, and we can manage our test environment in the way we like. So let us have a look at the JSON wire protocol. So this is the JSON wire protocol. Here the APM client uses the WebDriver protocol. You have got JSON wire over HTTP. In the middle you have got this APM server. Which is used to send information of instrumentation or through UI Automator on an Android platform. Or it is used to send information of UI automation on the XUI test. Okay. So what we have available is an APM client which uses the WebDriver protocol, and it transfers messages over the JSON wire protocol which sends information of automation to the UI Automator or to the XUI test, in middle being the APM server. Requirement 3 is met in the same way. WebDriver has become the de facto standard for automating the web browser. Okay, so it is now a W3C compliant working draft. And instead of creating another tool altogether, we basically extended the protocol and used an extra API for the mobile automation. And requirement 4 is that APM is both in spirit and in usage open source. Is this clear? How the different requirements or the different philosophies which APM has stated are met? Okay. So what are the advantages of APM? It is free and mostly open source. It has a very well supported and active Google group. The Selenium 3 specification is what it is based upon, so it is future proof. So if Selenium upgrades, it automatically upgrades. It supports both Android and iOS. It does not require anything to be installed on device, no server or code changes are required. What are the drawbacks of APM? It doesn't support intelligent wait or synchronizations. You cannot run your test in parallel on iOS device. There is limited support for gestures and limited support for something available of the Android version less than 4.1. So this is all about the concepts of APM which we have basically seen. When we run a APM test, Nadia, we can either run a test on something called as an emulator or a simulator or a physical device. So we will run our very first test on both on a device and an emulator, and then we will shift to just a physical device. Okay. And like I stated, it is not sometimes feasible for us to build these mobile labs. So that's why you have something called as the Xamarin Cloud, or you have something called as uh, the P Cloudy or Source Labs. These are all available. So let me show you these websites as well. So these are your mobile test labs available over cloud. If you have a look at it, then you have got your Source Labs also available. So these basically platforms provide you mobile labs over cloud where you can run your test. But if you are just creating at the level of creation or scripting you are at, and you want to just test it on one device, then you can either connect it via emulator or a physical device. Make sense? Okay, you guys had a look of it. Okay. So you understand what we have discussed? Okay, great. So that's all we are going to discuss for today. And then about setup and other things we will talk about tomorrow. So you guys let me know what type of questions you have for object-oriented programming concept discussion requirement. You guys can also talk, so you can unmute yourself and talk, and let's take that up. Or if you would like to type, you can type. Hello. Yes, we will talk about it. About setup and all, we will talk about it, but we will do it tomorrow. I want to ask you if you guys have any questions for regarding your object-oriented programming questions which you are trying to solve. Yes, that's what I'm asking you guys. Would you like to discuss the assignment? Let's do that. So let me open the Skype interface. You understood the concept of constructor for your class but did not understand how to use the method that would accept an object of my class. Why would the method accept the object of your class? I mean, the method also which are created are basically functions of a class and an object is used to call the method. So I'm not sure what you are trying to portray in here. And if you are trying to create a method that accepts object of a class, then in that method you have to basically define that class information. So for example, you would like to say import, let's say you are trying to import the scanner class. Then you basically create a method which is able to take the scanner object and then you call the method from the class object which can take another class objects as input argument. Is that what you're trying to do?
Do you ever wonder where to find happiness? For me, it's often in the little things, like electrons or protons.
But why do you want to do this? Like, for what reason are you trying to do this? So is there a specific question for which answer you're looking at? So this was your assignment problem. Which part would you like to discuss? Let me know. The distance of a city from another city. So distance from a city to another city is what you would like to check. That is question 5, right? So basically in here, you don't have to create a class which will accept city class object. You basically call two objects of your city class, okay? So you can definitely create a function which takes two objects of the city class and then you calculate the distance. I would suggest you read about something called as this. When you say this refers to the class itself. Yes, you can definitely share your code, Nadia. Um, see this. I just created a function called as printAge, okay, in which I pass the class and my object. So I say student class, let me say student in here, and I say system.out.ln print student age. Then I call this method print age for this object stud object. So I got the output as 12 because 12 was the age provided for here. So is this clear now? That is what it is asking you to do. It is asking you to create a method called as calculate distance, and then it is asking you to do the needful. Do you understand how you can do it? Yeah, this formula is fine to calculate the distance. Otherwise, don't worry too much about calculating distance by using the right formula. You can just simply minus latitude by of one with another, and that should be okay. But nevertheless, the formula you have used is correct. Inuman, please tell me whether you are able to understand this creating of the passing the class object. See here I am passing the method here itself, okay, in the static void main method where it calls the student class, I am calling this method for this object. So you can do that. Do you understand this? Have a look at this code. Any other questions you guys have? NRD, I think your code looks fine to me. You can send it to me and I will evaluate. No, that is not true, Enomen. So if you look at this exercise, it is actually listing you the questions, also helping you understand how do you have to solve it. For example, when it wants you to create a new class, it is telling you to create a new class called as UCity class and then do this following things there. Okay? Okay. Any other question any one of you has? Fine. So I would like you guys to do this assignment for object-oriented programming concepts and share it with me. And did you guys get a chance to look at those 3 links on Selenium which I shared? Where I asked you guys to learn about the concept of whether it is a class or an interface, the different methods which are available. So Selenium basically talks to the web browser and APM is basically going to talk to the mobile device. So that's one different, but more or less their essence and philosophies are the same. So if you guys get time, I will just share. Did I share with you guys to set up the information on the system setup for mobile testing? Like, did I share any of such mails with you guys? Where I've asked you to download Android Studio, this APM server and all that. I have already shared, right? Have you all downloaded Android Studio, APM server, everything? All that is downloaded? Awesome. So when we meet next, we are going to see, no, that's okay. We will see the setup process together. So I will be showing that to you. So most likely tomorrow after some theoretical aspects which we discuss, we will move on to the setup details. Okay? Okay, so would you like to meet tomorrow at 9 a.m. or 9:30 only? Enomen? Sorry, I'm so sorry. Your 9 p.m. or 9:30 is only what works for you. 9:30? Fine. We'll meet at 9:30. Okay. We'll keep it same as today. Okay, guys. Then thank you so much for your time. I will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks a lot. Thanks. Bye.